Writing scientific notation. When writing in scientific notation, you can only have one digit to the left of the decimal place, and then you write times 10 to some power. So the format would be a number with only one number to the left of the decimal, and then times 10 to a power. And that power could be positive or negative. Now, if the number is very small, which means it is a decimal number, so if it's a decimal number, then you're going to move the decimal to the right. Okay, so you move it to the right until you have only one number other than 0 to the left of the decimal. And then the exponent will become a negative number. So you're going to have 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 5, something like that. So if we want to put it in scientific notation, we're going to move the decimal to the right until there's one number other than 0 to the left of the decimal. And then we're going to have 1.5 times 10. How many spots did I move it? 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So it'll be to the negative 4 power, and that would be scientific notation. Okay, so now on the other hand, if the number is very large, which means it's not a decimal, could be negative, but it's not a decimal, we're going to move the decimal to the left to put it into scientific notation, and then the exponent will be positive. So if I have 1,470, and I want to put it in scientific notation, my decimal is at the end, so I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3 until there's only one spot to the left, so that's going to be 1.47 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, third power, and it's going to be positive. So that would be your final scientific notation. So let's do a few more examples here. This first example, we have 3,450,000. Okay, so I'm going to start by putting my decimal at the end. And now I have to move it so that I only have one point to the left. So that would be the 3. It's going to be 3 point something right here. So I need to move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. So 3.45 is going to be my decimal times 10, and I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places to the 6th power. And because I moved it to the left, it is a positive big number. I'm going to leave that as a positive number. So that's my final answer. The next one, I have 0.000000123. So I need to start by finding the decimal point, and then I need to move it so there's only one number to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this time it's a very small number, it's a decimal, so I know I'm going to have times 10 to a negative power. And I have 1.23, and I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots, so it's going to be a negative 6 power, and that is your final answer. And the last example, it's a negative number, but it's not, a very small decimal, so I'm going to put my decimal at the end because there's no decimal in it, and I have to put it into my scientific notation times 10 to some. It's going to be a positive power because it's a big number. So I move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then there's only one number if I put my decimal right there. Okay, so I'm going to have negative 2.12 times 10 and I moved it 10 spots, so to the 10th power, and I make sure it should be a positive 10 because I was moving to the left, and it's a very large number. So that is your final answer. Now, if we're given something in scientific notation and want to convert it into what we call standard notation, then everything is just flipped around opposite. So if we have a negative exponent, then we're going to move the decimal to the left. If we have a positive exponent, we're going to move the decimal to the right. Okay, and that's just, so it's just everything is opposite. So let's do some examples of this. When I am writing in standard notation from scientific notation, I'm going to start with the number without the times 10. So 4.2. Now I need to move this decimal point. I'm going to move the decimal point the number of spaces as the exponent. Since it's a negative exponent, I'm going to move to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you move that number of spaces and then fill in with zeros. And this is now where your decimal point is. So your final answer is 0.00042. And that would be your final answer in standard notation. And the next one, we have negative 3.186 times 10 to the 7th. So I start by writing down the number part, and then I move my decimal point. So my decimal point is right here, and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots to the right because it is a positive exponent. So then I fill in with zeros, and my final answer would then be negative 3.1860000. If you want to put commas in, you can, every 3 digits. And that's where my decimal is. So that is your final answer. In this last example, I'm going to start with my number that's not with the 10. And then I'd have negative 8.3. So I have to move my decimal 2 spots to the left. 1, 2. And then fill in with zeros. So my final answer would be negative 0.083. So those are your notes over writing scientific notation. Go through those practice problems. Make sure you can go between both forms correctly. And then you should be ready for your quiz over this material.